Hello there, very good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News. I'm Tracy Shilshi and in the next 30 minutes I'll be getting you through the day's news that you can look forward to. Yes, it's a Saturday, but there's lots that's making news. Let's start with the headlines. The 6th Heart of Asia Ministerial Conference to start in Amritsar today. Top officials of the 14 member countries to discuss key challenges including terrorism and ways to bring peace in Afghanistan. Qatar Prime Minister Sheikh Abdullah bin Nasir bin Khalifa Al Thani arrives in New Delhi on his first bilateral visit to India. Discussions with the Prime Minister on cooperation in energy on the agenda. Supreme Court asked the centre to spell out measures to ease inconvenience of the people in rural areas. Income tax detects undisclosed amounts totaling 1.64 crore rupees in country-wide investigations into Jan Dhan accounts. And consensus eludes GST Council over the model GST law on day one of the meeting. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley says constitutional obligation to roll out GST by 16th of September 2017. Let's start with news from Amritsar, where the 6th Heart of Asia Ministerial Conference will start today. Top officials of 14 member countries will meet over the two-day conference to discuss key challenges, including terrorism facing the region and ways to bring lasting stability in Afghanistan. India is likely to step up its efforts to corner Pakistan diplomatically and mobilize support for concrete action against state-sponsored terrorism by Pakistan. India has already rejected prospects of holding bilateral talks with Islamabad, saying that it will never accept continuing cross-border terrorism as the new normal. It has made it clear that talks cannot take place in an atmosphere of continued terror. The main conference will be jointly inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Afghan President Ashraf Ghani on Sunday. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley is representing India at the conference. In other news, the Supreme Court has asked the centre to spell out measures to ease the inconvenience of people in rural areas who are mostly dependent on cooperative banks after the demonetization exercise. Appearing for the centre, Attorney General Mukul Rohatgi replied the government had deliberately kept cooperative banks out of the drive as they did not have the expertise to detect fake currency. A bench of Chief Justice T.S. Thakur and Justice D.Y. Chandrachud also asked all parties to sit together and prepare a list of categories of cases that can be referred to high courts and those that can be heard in the apex court. The bench was hearing a batch of pleas challenging various aspects regarding demonetization. Rohatgi said that with several cases being filed each passing day in various high courts, it was not possible for them to be considered simultaneously. As such, he requested that all these matters should be clubbed together and be referred to one high court. Meanwhile, the Reserve Bank revised the market stabilization scheme ceiling to 6 lakh crore rupees from the existing 30,000 crore rupees on Friday. The move was taken to clean up extra liquidity from the system in view of demonetization. The RBI issues market stabilization scheme bonds to remove excessive liquidity from the financial system through the issue of treasury bills and government-dated stocks. The move will help banks to earn a return from the deposits after demonetization. MSS securities are not issued to meet the government's expenditure. They are matched by an equivalent cash balance held by the government with the RBI and have no impact on the fiscal deficit of the government.
The MSS limit, it's basically in the nature of a limit, and the Reserve Bank of India will operate within that limit as per requirement. With regard to the interest burden, we should be able to absorb it within the budget estimates of this year. Currently, it is the situation of excess liquidity and the Reserve Bank is managing it. So whether it is high or low, I would not like to fix any benchmark. But yes, by and large, it is definitely on the higher side.
The Income Tax Department, meanwhile, has detected undisclosed amounts totaling 1.64 crore rupees and other inconsistencies in its countrywide investigations into Jan Dhan accounts. The department detected the suspicious activity in bank accounts in Kolkata and Midnapur, Ara in Bihar, Kochi and Varanasi. Officials said that some other accounts in over half a dozen cities are under observation. The Central Board of Direct Taxes said that 40 lakh rupees had been seized from one such account in Bihar. Jan Dhan accounts have a deposit limit of just 50,000 rupees. The investigations are focusing on the sudden surge in cash deposits and similar inconsistencies. And of course, the demonetization exercise is witnessing mixed reactions from the common man on the streets in cities and towns. Despite facing hardships, people though are expressing faith in the government's crackdown on black money. However, at the same time, many are expressing unhappiness at the huge disruption to daily life. The government caps on withdrawal of the new currency have not helped either, with people left struggling to pay for even basic goods like food.
सैलरी जो है खाते में आ गई, मगर हम लोग जो है पैसे तो निकल नहीं रहे, हम लोग परेशान हैं। खाने पीने दाल रोटी आटा कुछ भी नहीं खरीद पा रहा है, बैंकों में एटीएम में पैसे नहीं है, बड़ी परेशानी हो रही है।
सब लोग वही चेक वाले हैं, सब लोग यही बोल रहे हैं कि मेरा भी नहीं क्लियर हुआ। अभी हम लोग यही 8-10-20 जन थे, यही बात कर रहे थे कि मेरा भी नहीं हुआ, मेरा भी नहीं। तो हम लोग को अभी बहुत प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है, खाने पीने के लिए इधर उधर से 10-20 रुपया सबसे मांगना पड़ता है।
कुछ दिक्कत नहीं है, कैश नहीं, डेबिट कार्ड से भरेंगे, क्रेडिट कार्ड से भरेंगे, पुराना नोट नहीं है, नया नोट से भरेंगे।
आई बिलीव कि अगर देश के लिए थोड़ी बहुत प्रॉब्लम फेस करनी भी पड़ जाए तो हमें गवर्नमेंट का साथ देना चाहिए। पूरी तरह से हमारे ही हित में ही है, आम जनता के हित में है।
Meanwhile, consensus eluded the GST Council on the model GST law on day one of the meeting yesterday. The Council will deliberate the issue again today and try to resolve the contentious issue of dual control of assessors under the new indirect tax regime. The fifth meeting of the Council, headed by Finance Minister Arun Jaitley, will also deliberate the impact of demonetization on revenue. The Centre plans to implement GST from 1st of April 2017. Due to constitutional impulsions, the GST has to be rolled out by September 16th next year, when the existing indirect taxes will come to an end. Thereafter, it will not be possible for either the centre or the states to collect indirect taxes. Some state finance ministers expressed confidence that it was still possible to implement GST from 1st of April, although the centre is running on a tight time schedule.
I don't think there will be a problem with the provisions in the law, but there can be no consensus decision taken on the issue of cross empowerment.
हमें उम्मीद है कि जीएसटी के संबंधित जो भी बिल हैं वह लोकसभा और संसद के इसी सत्र में पारित हो जाने चाहिए और राज्य भी आगे अपनी विधानसभाओं में इनको पारित कर पाएंगे। सबका लक्ष्य है कि जीएसटी आने वाली अप्रैल 2017 से लागू हो जाए।
Meanwhile, continuing its attack on the Prime Minister over demonetization, Congress has called the Prime Minister the biggest patron of black money. The party once again demanded that the BJP reveal details of its bank transactions from the 1st of April to the 30th of November, while demanding an apology from the PM on the deaths of the people who stood in long queues outside ATMs to withdraw their own money.
प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी ने नोटबंदी की शक्ल में देशबंदी लागू कर दी है। पूरे देश में आर्थिक आपातकाल या आर्थिक अराजकता का माहौल है। मित्रों, नोटबंदी इस देश का सबसे बड़ा घोटाला है।
Now, amid the non-stop steps by the government and the RBI to try and smoothen public dealings post-demonetization, farmers of the country seem to be the hardest hit. Across the nation, they are being forced to sell their produce at zero profits and sometimes even at a loss, which has brought vegetable wholesale prices to a new low.
Almost a month into demonetization, farmers and wholesale traders are reeling under a very visible domino effect. Vegetable prices, both wholesale and retail, have crashed as mandis run short of cash. Azadpur Mandi, the biggest wholesale vegetable market in the national capital, has also fallen prey to the note ban move. Farmers are being forced to sell their produce at the market for throwaway prices instead of, which is still better than dumping it as waste.
माल में आ रहा, फिर पे जगह नहीं है, माल नहीं उतर रहा। 4 बजे के आए हुए हैं, अब तक माल गाड़ी से ही नहीं उतर लिया। बिकेगा तो जब, और फिर जाके काटना अपना माल, खेत में तैयार हुआ वो खड़ा है और ग्राहकी सही नहीं, पैसा ही नहीं किसी के पास। आज तक 2000 का नोट ही नहीं देख लिया। मोदी ने कितने दिन हो गए, 22-23 दिन हो गए, आज तक 2000 का नोट नहीं आ लिया।
हमारे को जी 1 से 1.5 रुपये का भाव मिल रहा है, लागत पड़ती 3 से 4 रुपये किलो की, खेत से ही ये लागत पड़ती जी। कुछ भी नहीं बच रहा, हमारे को घर से देना पड़ रहा है। कर्जा हो गया क्योंकि अब इसको खेत से नहीं निकालेंगे तो फिर अगली फसल भी नहीं होगी खेत में।
Vegetable mandis across the countries are reporting up to 30% loss. Seasonal vegetables are being sold at zero profit. While this time last year radish was sold at 7 to 8 rupees per kg, this year it is being sold at a mere 1 rupee 50 paise per kg. Carrots were sold at 17 to 18 rupees per kg last year. This year it is being sold at 10 to 11 rupees per kg. A sack of cabbage weighing 15 kilograms should ideally cost anywhere between 250 and 300 rupees. But demonetization is seeing farmers selling it for just 50 rupees. Green vegetables like spinach and methi are being sold at 4 rupees per kg opposed to 7 to 8 rupees per kg last year. Tomatoes are also being sold at half the price compared to last year's price of 15 to 18 rupees per kilogram.
काफ़ी फर्क पड़ गया। अभी 25% डाउन हो गए सब्जियों के रेट। सभी चीज़ें इन दिनों में हमारे 22 रुपये किलो गाजर बिक रही थी, 10-12 रुपये बिक रही है। मेथी जो बिक रही 15-16 रुपये किलो बिक रही थी, 8 रुपये 6 रुपये किलो बिक रही है। गोभी 10-12 रुपये बिक रही थी, 4-5 रुपये किलो गोभी बिक रही है। किसान क्या करें, खेत तो खाली कर दिए उसने। जो उसने खेत में माल बो रखा है वो तो खाली करेगा, अगली फसल के लिए खाली करेगा। नुकसान तो हो रहा है, फिर पैसे नहीं है लोगों के पास।
The restrictions in the availability of cash has hit farmers, traders and middlemen hard. By selling their produce at throwaway prices, farmers are not only risking their livelihood this year, but also the production of next season's harvest. With inputs from Anu Diwan, Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
With a quick break here, we'll be back with more national international news in a bit. Stay with us.
The basic scientific foundations were made by this institute. Has done a lot of work in hepatitis viruses. The natural cycle of Japanese encephalitis in our country, where the virus was discovered, a killed vaccine was produced, technology was passed on. One BSL-4 lab, and that is so far unique and only lab in whole Asia, which works in health sector.
Watch Eureka with Dr. D.T. Maurya, Director, National Institute of Virology, Pune, on Rajya Sabha Television.
Welcome back. Let's continue getting you more national news. And the issue of army personnel being deployed at various toll plazas in West Bengal spilled onto the streets of Kolkata on Friday. MLAs of the ruling TMC demonstrated outside Raj Bhavan, accusing the centre of not informing the state government about the army movement. Both the army and the centre, though, refuted the allegations, saying that it was a routine annual exercise.
Trinamool Congress MLAs protesting outside Raj Bhavan in Kolkata on Friday, demanding an immediate withdrawal of the army from all toll plazas across West Bengal. Carrying placards and posters, the TMC MLAs staged a protest march from the State Assembly to the Raj Bhavan, accusing the centre of trying to stage a coup against the state government.
We have come here to lodge our protest on behalf of the Legislative Assembly. All MLAs, all ministers are there to lodge a complaint to the Honourable Governor that without the permission of the state government, how come the army be deployed in 18 places in 18 points?
The army, however, strongly rebutted allegations that its personnel were deployed without informing the state government.
You must be aware that we have specific targets and specific informations and data to be collected. On completion of the data collection at Navona, the team was withdrawn last night around 12 o'clock.
The union government also criticized West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee and her party for projecting the army's annual exercise in a wrong way.
मैं सभी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी से प्रार्थना करता हूं, कृपया आर्मी को ऐसी विषयों में मत लाइए और देश के लिए जो आर्मी, जो जवान जिसका हमारा योगदान दे रहे, बलिदान दे रहे, ऐसी आर्मी को राजनीतिक करने के लिए, राजनीतिक लाभ उठाने के लिए उनका नाम लेना ये गलत है। तो कम से कम आगे ऐसा काम नहीं करना चाहिए।
However, the reactions from other political parties were mixed.
सवाल ये है, जब सेना डिप्लॉयमेंट किसी स्टेट में होती है तो उस स्टेट के चीफ मिनिस्टर को, होम मिनिस्टर को इत्तला दिया जाता है और इत्तला दे के उनको डिप्लॉय किया जाता है। ये लॉ एंड ऑर्डर सिचुएशन का तो सवाल नहीं है, यहाँ कोई वहाँ गड़बड़ी नहीं है, तो किस वजह से आप वो डिप्लॉय किए, उतना ही क्वेश्चन है।
हमारे भारतीय संविधान में संघीय ढांचे की व्यवस्था है, तो संघीय ढांचे को ध्यान में रखकर ये उचित नहीं हो रहा है। इसकी हमारी पार्टी कड़े शब्दों में निंदा करती है और ऐसा सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को नहीं करना चाहिए, क्योंकि आर्मी जो है सेंटर के अंतर्गत आती है।
ममता बनर्जी का एक हाई ड्रामा नाटक करना ये बंगाल के लोग के लिए नया नहीं है। ममता पिछले 10 साल से ऐसी राजनीति करती है। अब देश के लोग जाने, जो लोग दीदी दीदी करके जो मोदी भाई चिल्ला रहे हैं, वो जाने कि किस तरह से वो उनका जो अपने जान का डर है, पैरानॉइड है, और उसके लिए सबको बदनाम कर सकती हैं, यहाँ तक कि आर्मी को भी।
On Thursday, West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee had accused the centre of deploying army personnel at certain toll plazas in the state without informing her government. She refused to leave her office till the forces were withdrawn from the toll plaza near the state secretariat. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And as we said, West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee threatened to take legal steps against the centre for bypassing the state government. In a fresh attack against Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Mamata Banerjee accused the centre of misusing the army for political gains.
Get triggers for them. We are proud of them. I said all the jawans, including army and my administration, whoever worked for the administration, they are also doing good work. Very tough work. I have a great respect for them. But why they will be used for a political agenda?
And that row over army taking over the toll plazas in West Bengal echoed in both houses of parliament as well on Friday. The TMC alleging that it was a move to create fear psychosis and destabilize the West Bengal government. But the charges were strongly refuted by the government, which maintained that the army deployment was an annual exercise.
The issue of army deployment at toll plazas in West Bengal resonated in Rajya Sabha on Friday. Leader of opposition Ghulam Nabi Azad called it a serious issue, asking the government to clarify what prompted the move. TMC MP Sukhendu Shekhar Roy said it was an attempt to destabilize the state government.
पूछे बगैर स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के चीफ मिनिस्टर को मालूम नहीं है, चीफ सेक्रेटरी को नहीं मालूम है, डीजीपी को नहीं मालूम है, पुलिस को नहीं मालूम है, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को मालूम नहीं, और स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स के टोल प्लाजाज टेक ओवर करे स्टेट आर्मी, तो ये बड़ा अचंबा लगता है, आउट ऑफ द वे लगता है। हमें इसके पीछे क्या मंशा?
वो बंगाल में इस तरह गैर कानूनी वजह से ये सेना तैनात करके वहां फियर साइकोसिस पैदा करना चाहते हैं। बंगाल की जनता ब्रिटिश से लड़े हैं और मोदी जी का तानाशाही के खिलाफ भी लड़ेगा।
आर्मी आती है, लेकिन बंगाल के अंदर क्या हुआ है कि वहाँ की जो गवर्नमेंट है उससे परमिशन नहीं ली गई है और बिना परमिशन के वहाँ पर आर्मी को लगाया गया है। तो मैं समझती हूँ ये हमारे भारतीय संविधान में जो संघीय ढांचे का प्रावधान है, तो उसके ऊपर बहुत बड़ा ये हमला है।
However, Minister of State for Defence Subhash Bhamre termed the charges as baseless. He informed the House that such exercises by the army are always carried out in coordination with the local police.
The exercise was earlier planned on 27th and 28th November 2016. The dates were changed to 30th November and 2nd December on a specific request by Kolkata Police due to Bharat Bandh on 20th November.
Not satisfied with the minister's response, opposition members shouted slogans and trooped into the well of the House, leading to noisy scenes. With inputs from Vishal Daya and Panchanan Mishra, Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
A massive search operation was launched in Pathankot in Punjab on Friday after a local resident claimed to have spotted 4 to 5 armed men. The search was carried out by nearly 250 security personnel from Haryana and Punjab, including SWAT commandos. Nothing, of course, was found in the operation, which lasted around 4 hours. Pathankot, remember, saw a major terror attack in January this year when terrorists attacked the airbase, claiming the lives of 7 security personnel, while 4 terrorists were killed in the attack. Meanwhile, Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar on Friday admitted that there was scope for improvement in security in wake of the Nagrota attack, in which 7 soldiers were martyred. Parrikar said that some sort of lethargy had set in over a period of time and those behind any lapse will be punished.
हमें कुछ इन्फॉर्मेशन मिली थी कि कल रात को किसी आदमी ने इस एरिया में कुछ संदिग्ध देखे हैं। हालांकि जो इन्फॉर्मेशन थी कोई ज़्यादा रिलायबल तो नहीं है। मेरी थ्योरी है कि जो भी ऐसी कोई इन्फॉर्मेशन आए उसको मैं बहुत सीरियसली लेता हूँ। उसी के एवज आज हमने अपने सारी फोर्सेस को इकट्ठा करके अपनी स्क्वाड टीम को, अपने कमांडोज को, अपने एसटीओस को, अफसरों को मैंने, हिमाचल पुलिस भी हमारे साथ में है, आर्मी भी साथ में है, तो ये एरिया वैसे भी काफ़ी देर से हमने सर्च नहीं किया था, उसके बेस पे हमने ये सर्च ऑपरेशन चलाया है।
In other news, Qatar Prime Minister Sheikh Abdullah bin Nasir bin Khalifa Al Thani arrived in New Delhi on Friday on his first bilateral visit to India. He is accompanied by a high-level delegation that is expected to hold discussions with Prime Minister Narendra Modi on bilateral, regional and multilateral issues of common interest. The two leaders are also likely to discuss ways to enhance cooperation in the strategic areas of energy. Qatar is the largest supplier of liquefied natural gas to India. This is the third high-level bilateral engagement between the two countries in the past 2 years, which underlines India's growing ties with Qatar. The visit of the Qatari Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani to India in March 2015 was followed by the visit of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Qatar in June this year. Indians form the largest immigrant community with over 630,000 Indian nationals working in Qatar. The Supreme Court on Friday gave its nod to the centre's graded response action plan to tackle different levels of pollution. The court asked the Central Pollution Control Board to upgrade its existing infrastructure and set up additional monitoring stations in Delhi NCR within the next 6 months. The court also directed the centre to examine within 4 weeks harmful effects of petroleum and oil used in industries and power generation plants in NCR and asked it to issue appropriate directions in this regard. Meanwhile, the National Green Tribunal banned the use of disposable plastic in Delhi and NCR from the 1st of January 2017 and directed the city government to take steps to reduce dumped waste. The tribunal, however, refused to shut down the Okhla waste-to-energy plant and issued a slew of directions for its eco-friendly operation, along with 2 other plants in Ghazipur and Bhalswa. And here's a look at what else is making news across the country in Nationwide. Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif will be visiting India today. He is expected to hold bilateral talks, also regional and international issues, including enhanced energy and trade cooperation with the Indian side. With Iran surpassing Saudi Arabia to become India's top crude oil supplier last month, the two sides are also expected to explore ways to strengthen cooperation in the sector. During his visit, Iranian minister will also speak on fighting against terrorism and extremism as a global menace at an event in Delhi. Gujarat cadre IPS officer Rakesh Asthana has been appointed as the interim CBI director. This comes after incumbent CBI chief Anil Sinha retired from the post and the government did not name any full-time chief. Asthana, a Gujarat cadre officer of 1984 batch, got elevated as the second in command in CBI 2 days ago when Special Director R.K. Datta was shifted to the Home Ministry as a Special Secretary. Supreme Court on Friday expressed its displeasure over inordinate delay in filling up vacant positions in the National Human Rights Commission, including that of the DG of Investigation and a member, while directing the centre to enumerate reasons for this delay. The bench said that the centre must make these appointments as soon as possible. Since March 2014, there's been a vacancy in the commission. And now a look at what will be making news in the day ahead. With opposition parties going all out against the centre over its demonetization move, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is slated to address a Parivartan rally in Moradabad today. This would be the 4th address of the Prime Minister. BJP leaders have set a target of bringing in a crowd of more than 2 lakh people. President Pranab Mukherjee will present the National Awards for the Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities 2016 on the occasion of the International Day of Persons with Disabilities at a function organized by the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. 78 individuals and institutions will be awarded on the occasion. Since 1992, the ministry has been conferring national awards on individuals, institutions, organizations, state and districts for their outstanding achievements and work done towards empowerment of persons with disabilities. Punjab Congress will release the first list of candidates for the 2017 State Assembly polls today. Hitting out at the Aam Aadmi Party on Friday, State Unit Chief Captain Amrinder Singh described it as a movement of frustration. He also challenged Finance Minister Arun Jaitley to contest from Amritsar as a referendum on demonetisation. The remaining list of candidates will be announced on the 8th of December. And now let's take you through some international news in World Wrap. Long-serving President of Gambia, Yahya Jammeh, accepted his surprise defeat in the presidential election in one of the biggest election upsets West Africa has ever seen. Jammeh, an authoritarian president who ruled for 22 years, lost to property developer Adama Barrow, who is leading an opposition coalition of 7 parties and has promised to revive the country's struggling economy and is looking at imposing a 2-term presidential limit. In a fresh spree of violence, Taliban insurgents killed 23 civilians in Kandahar province of Afghanistan. The police said that the Taliban had sought refuge in the homes of civilians and killed them after they opposed the insurgents. 29 Taliban fighters and 6 members of the Afghan security forces have been killed in the ongoing battles in the district in recent days. Nepal's opposition parties obstructed the parliament for the second consecutive day on Friday after the Constitution Amendment Bill. The opposition is protesting against the formation of a new state to meet the demands of Madhesis and other ethnic groups. Massive anti-government protests were also reported from various parts of the country against the Constitution Amendment Bill. All right, sports now. And the BCCI on Friday maintained its opposition to some of the reforms recommended by the Lodha Committee and will wait for the Supreme Court's verdict on the matter to come on the 5th of December. At a special general meeting in Delhi, the board did not take any decisions on the recommendations, but the state associations have been told to keep a plan B ready in case the verdict from the apex court is not favourable. 2 associations, Tripura and Vidarbha, who have decided to implement the Lodha reforms, were absent from the meeting. The Lodha Committee has sought directions on the appointment of former Union Home Secretary G.K. Pillai as observer and removal of all BCCI office bearers. The board is supposed to file a compliance report in the apex court today, with the court's next date set for the 5th of December.
This was a meeting of all the full members. We have once again explained to them the position, and they have again clarified the position that they stand to their decision taken earlier. They have only reiterated their position of the meeting, because there was a feeling that the members are having different opinions or anything like that. So all of them have reiterated their original views.
From legal battles, let's head on to some on-field sports action in SportsBeat. Ace Indian shuttler Saina Nehwal bowed out of the Macau Open badminton tournament on Friday. In the quarterfinals, Saina lost to unseeded Chinese player Zhang Yiman in straight games 12-21, 17-21. Saina had earlier lost in the opening round of China Open and made an exit in the last 8th stage at Hong Kong as well. India dismissed Nepal for 21 in the Women's T20 Asia Cup in Bangkok on Friday, which is the lowest ever total in T20s for men and women. The previous lowest total was 39, scored by the Netherlands men's team in 2014. Notably, the previous lowest women's T20 team score of 44 was made on Wednesday by Bangladesh in the same tournament. Less than a week after winning the World Championship at Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, Mercedes driver Nico Rosberg has announced his retirement from Formula One with immediate effect. Rosberg's father, Keke Rosberg, had won the championship in 1982, and Nico Rosberg's F1 championship made him only the second son of a champion to take the title since 1950. That's all we have for you on the Breakfast News. Thanks for joining us. Have a good day.